Parshas Behaaloscha. Okay, gentlemen. Last. Shh. One second. What's going on here? Guys.
I was just saying that the first time we did this, I asked to make the excuse because I need.
Okay, so the people are complaining. Not something anyone here has experience with. The Torah tells us about 3 events that went sour, 3 events that went sour in the desert. The people were complaining. They left Har Sinai. Some say they were like children running away from school when they left Har Sinai. There's another aspect, Vayihiyam kimisonanim. They were like complainers, Ra b'nei Hashem, bad in the eyes of God. The complaining, there's different kinds of complaining. They weren't just saying it was difficult. Rashi says they were looking for an excuse. You know how like things go wrong? Sometimes it's raining outside and you had a plan that you wanted to do that day and it didn't work out. And so instead of saying, boy, it's a problem, it's raining, you somehow turn it into someone else's fault. You somehow blame somebody because your life is not going the way you want to. So Bnei Yisrael says, oh, we're traveling, it's so difficult. 3 days, we're hurrying, we're rushing, we haven't had a rest. And then it continues, they go on to the next thing, they start complaining about the mun. Where's the beef? Where's the meat? What's going on? And the pasuk tells us that Hashem got very angry and it was bad in the eyes of Moshe. So all these things are going wrong. Complaining about the mun, complaining about the travel. Now, there's a Sfas Emes over here. He brings his grandfather, the Chidush Yerim, and he says, what was happening over here? Why were they traveling so fast? Why were they under such pressure? What was Hashem doing? What was the point of it? He said, you know, there are 3 things in this world that can only be acquired through suffering. When I was around your age, for the first time, I met this extraordinary human being, Rav Noach Weinberg, the head of Eshet Torah. And he was one of the fathers of the modern Tshuva movement. And he would ask, what's the opposite of pleasure? People would always say, pain. Pain and pleasure are opposites. And he would say, no. The opposite of pleasure is no pleasure. The opposite of pain is comfort. Pleasure requires pain. If you want to have pleasure, you need to invest to get a high-level pleasure. The more you invest in something, the more benefit and pleasure you can get out of it. It could either be a fleeting pleasure for something that you don't work very hard, but when you invest in yourself, you build yourself, you create something, then there's a great pleasure. 3 things, says the Gemara, only come about through affliction, more than pain. Eretz Yisrael, Torah, and Olam Haba. All of these things require work. You can't get them. You can't get them without suffering. Eretz Yisrael. The Jews are on their way to Eretz Yisrael. How many years did they have to stay in the desert when they didn't go straight into Eretz Yisrael? 40 years of suffering. Hashem was trying to give them, in 3 days, an intense experience, and at the end of those 3 days, they'll go straight into Eretz Yisrael. The Geula would have been here. Everything would have worked out. But they had 3 days, and they sat there not just complaining, but blaming God for what went wrong in their life. Why is he doing this to us? The problem wasn't that it was hard. It doesn't even seem the problem is they were kvetching a little bit because it was hard. The problem is that they didn't believe that Hashem was doing it for their benefit. The most difficult thing for us when something is going, it's just going rough, to say somehow, Gamzu Latova, somehow, whatever Hashem does is for good. Somehow this is good. I don't know how, but I gotta just believe that He knows what He's doing. He doesn't make mistakes. So Klal Yisrael going through the stage and they start complaining that Hashem is doing this to them. Instead of saying, boy, this is hard, but I know that Hashem has a plan for me. And because of that, we had to earn Eretz Yisrael through 40 years in the desert. And that entire generation who had come out didn't make it there. Only their children did. Now, what happens though, and this is a little bit of the continuation of the idea, what happens when you see your friend having a hard time? They once asked Rav, when you say, so your friend's having a hard time, you say to him, he was in an accident, something bad happened to him, oh, it's all for the best, right? We're supposed to say that, right? It's all for the best. They once asked Rav Hutner, he was very, very deep and wise, but he also had a very quick turn of phrase. He had these very fast lines. So they once asked him, why did Hashem create such a thing as kfira, as like denial of God in the world? He said, so when your friend is having a hard time, you shouldn't say, oh yeah, Hashem will take care of it. You should feel that you have the need to take care of it when your friend is suffering. So he was making a joke, but he was saying a very important message. And this is what continues. When the Parsha continues, Moshe hears the people crying. They're not just complaining. It says, Bochel lemishpechosav. They were getting together in their family units. And instead of the family unit strengthening each other, picking each other up, telling each other, we're going to work this out, we're going to get through it, it's okay, we can manage, we will find a way, we're together, Hashem is good to us, we're going to manage. They sat there reinforcing the complaints of one another. Instead of reinforcing each other to be strong, they reinforced each other to be weak. Moshe said, this is a problem. He said, it wouldn't have been such a problem, the Chassam Sofer says, it wouldn't have been such a problem if they had said about themselves, Hashem knows what He's doing. This is what I need. But when they saw their friends suffering, for that they were allowed to cry out and beg and say, Hashem, please help my friend, he's suffering. Please help these other people, they're suffering. But when it turned out to be self-absorbed, kvetching and complaining and crying about how bad their lives were, when it came that we're all victims over here and we can't and it's so hard, instead of reinforcing each other, and instead of saying, what could I do to ease the burden on my friend? Instead, each person sat there with their family moaning about how bad things were. Moshe says, Hashem, I can't. He says, you're going to punish them now? Please kill me. I can't even see it. I can't bear it. I'm not going to be able to deal with the punishment that I'm going to see these people get. And I can't do it alone. And please, did I give birth to these people? Did I raise them? Like, I can't handle the pain that's going to come to them. And that's what Hashem gives him 70s of Canaan, to help him handle the load, the burden of Klal Yisrael. Because Moshe had it right. He wasn't complaining about his own situation. He's complaining about I can't handle seeing all the other people in pain. That kind of complaint to Hashem, we're allowed to have. That kind of complaint, that's what Hashem wants to see. Like a father who wants to see his children taking care of each other. Gentlemen, it's the end of the year. It's the end of the year. The summer could be so dangerous for people, and it could be such a growth opportunity for people. If you will keep each other strong, if you will stay in touch with each other, if you will make buddy systems with each other, if you will look out for each other, you get through the summer in a great way. You go on to a year that will be even better next year. If you don't do that, it's so hard to survive. We should just be zeichet to be there for each other, to see Hashem's goodness. And we're going to miss you a lot, gentlemen. I look forward to seeing you all next year. Good Shabbos.